What's up, guys? It is Jonathan with One Big Impact. So, today we're going to come to you with a squat technique video. I think it's really important that we cover squat technique for the simple reason of it's probably the single most exercise screwed up that I see in public gyms, and I'm not hating on anybody, but if you're squatting 4 plates and you're going like this, bro, just if you want anything besides knee pain, take all the plates off, work on getting your depth down, maybe work up to a plate and just stay there for a few weeks. It's not a big deal. Nobody cares how much you're lifting wrong. We only care how much you're lifting right. And then, even then, most people don't care what you're lifting at all. So don't lift with your ego. Nobody cares. If you're lifting for that reason, at least go to depth. Okay. So first of all, the bar position is probably one of the most things that I see screwed up. And this is probably one of the most dangerous things. The bar position, meaning the bar placement in the rack. The bar placement in the rack, generally speaking, whether you're high bar or low bar, my personal opinion is going to be right at mid shoulder is where the bar needs to be. And people go, what, that's too low. Why? Every person almost I've ever dealt with, they go, oh no. Somebody that doesn't know how to squat, somebody that tries to pick up the bar and put it on their back, has no clue how to squat, they always tell me that's too low. You don't even know what the hell you're doing, so what are you talking about? The reason you put it there is because that really is where the bar is supposed to go, right about on your back, a little bit lower. And you want it lower rather than higher. I'm not saying down here, but you also have to account for this, okay, mid-shoulder, plus it's got this little ledge here you have to clear. And I promise you, if something's going wrong in your squat, you're not going to fail up, you're failing down, okay? Next thing, put your safeties at a good, decent height. Get yourself in a squat position, squat down to your bottom position, look over, and you should have your safeties somewhere like right below mid-shoulder, okay? Right below that. You don't want to fold in half to be able to get out of the squat. So understand that it's really important that you have the bar mid-shoulder and your safeties in place. Those are the two first things. The next thing that we're going to roll directly into is going to be breathing and bracing, okay? We call this picking the bar. When you come under the bar, okay, you come under the bar and you pick the bar up and walk out, okay? So when you pick the bar, before you pick it, big deep breath in your stomach, hold it, stand up, walk back, and add to the breath if you can, if you're that advanced. And then squat, hold that breath the entire time until you come up. Now, if you're going to be doing 8 reps or something like that, it's probably going to be significantly lighter, so I probably wouldn't worry about breathing and bracing every single one. You're going to feel like you're going to black out, but maybe bracing won't be that important. But if you are specifically powerlifting, you're doing 1s, 3s, 5s, doubles, anything, 4s, you're going to want to brace. If it's 5 or 6, probably brace and hold that breath for every 2 until you get really good at not feeling like you're going to black out. And 1 second. Okay, so next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be bar placement on your back. I don't want you to overthink this, but I also don't want you to underthink it. I want you to at least just keep it in mind. And the reason I say I don't want you to overthink it is because you will find yourself in quite a bit of either shoulder or back pain, meaning back pain from where you're setting the bar on the back of your body, like the actual physical impact area, or lack of shoulder mobility, okay? Usually it's one or the other or both. And I will say a little caveat to that is give it a month, okay? I'm not saying force the bar down into where it needs to be or anything like that, but I am saying give it a month. And it's kind of like we'll talk about in the future deadlift videos and stuff, and I'll talk about really common things that you're probably experience on those as well. Now, stay tuned. Within the next couple days, I'll make a deadlift technique video. Now, just for the sake of the video, I'm going to set up, actually, let me move you over here. Sorry in advance for moving you weirdly. Say hello to the dog. Oh, I thought he was taking a poop. I was going to be really mad. He's not. So, a couple things really quick, okay? I'll talk about hand placement in a second, and don't worry about that right now. I push the bar forward. Some racks, I pull it back. It depends on the setup. This one has a ledge, so I don't pull back. That being said, if you experience shoulder pain, like, it's really hurting shoulder pain, then I would go high bar for a little while. So this is going to be high bar, okay? Right here on the traps, okay? And then you walk back. Where you don't want to put the bar is, watch the bar, it's going to go up. You don't want to put the bar up here. And it's extremely common that people do put it up there. If you have a friend, have them go to the back of your neck and push really hard with their thumb. Now, add 300 pounds or 100 pounds or 50 pounds to that, and that's what it's going to feel like, okay? If you don't experience shoulder pain when you're going into that position, then I recommend going straight to low bar position. So I showed you high bar position. That's going to be a more quad dominant exercise. This is going to be a low bar position. High bar, low bar. So on your rear delt shelf. Now it's hard to realize, and it's really common that people are going to say, the bar's going to fall off, the bar's going to fall off. How the hell is it going to fall off if my hands are here? I can't let the bar fall off. Like, it won't fall off. Now if you are struggling and you do actually feel it falling off, you could be a very small person. If you are a very small person, that can happen. Now, and I'll tell you why that happens. The next thing we're going to talk about is hand placement on the bar. Hand placement on the bar is, generally speaking, let me caveat real quick, sorry. If you're starting up high on the high bar position, as you get used to like the shoulder stuff, and we'll talk maybe about in a future video about shoulder mobility and getting rid of aches and pains in shoulder for squats, but if you're you get to where you're like, oh, high bar feels okay now, I'm not hurting anymore. Slide it down, maybe a quarter inch per week or something until you can get it down there. Give it about a month. It's going to be tough, okay? But usually if it makes it further than that, you'll probably start loosening up. If it doesn't, maybe bring the bar back up and leave it there. You might be okay with high bar. With bar placement, as far as your hands are concerned, you want to be as close as you can without causing extreme pain. You want your upper back to be bunched up and tight. If you feel good and relaxed in a squat, bench, or deadlift, you're gonna lose. You're not gonna lift anything, okay? If these things find somewhere to find a weak point, they'll do it. I put my thumb on the inside ring, shiny ring, and then I bring it in. And I'm a big guy, like I have a pretty wide back. I'm a 308 lifter. So that being said, as close as you can. Smaller people with lots of flexibility, you need to be all the way back up there. The tighter your upper back, the less energy you're going to lose as it goes down through your body. Okay, next, and probably the thing that most people have a hard time with is going to be depth. And I don't know why it is that people think they're at depth and they're not, but that is a very regular thing. The first thing you don't need to do is get away from a mirror. Mirrors are not helping you. And let me think about how to explain this analogy really quick, okay? If you are looking down into a mirror, which is reversed, and not the angle that your hips are at, then how can you expect to feel like that is depth? It's the equivalent of, to me, in my opinion, shooting from the hip with a gun. We don't shoot from a hip with a gun because it's not as accurate. Why do we shoot? We shoot from here because this is the location. If our eyes were down here, then we would shoot from down there because that's where we can aim. Then that being said, we don't look down because our hips are down here. If we had our eyes down here, we could look in a mirror and it would make sense. Otherwise it don't. You have to find out where you're at in space. That being said, one of the really good ways to be able to understand it is to first not go into a squat rack. First thing is squat down. Hold your hands out in front of you. It's going to be the equivalent of having a barbell on your back. The reason you're holding your hands out is because when the bar's on your back, you're leaning like this, the bar's pulling you this way, your butt pulls you this way, and it's kind of that teeter-totter balance effect. If you just squat and you don't hold your hands out, you're going to fall over like that. Hold your hands out, push your knees out in a 5 to 15 degree angle. You see how my toes are just slightly out, shoulder width apart with my feet, hands out, push the knees out, and squat. Bring it back up, and we'll turn to the side, and we'll do the same thing. Knees pushing out, hips back, hands front, squat. Now, I want you to do that, or at least have your coach do it, or somebody do it before you get under the bar. And the reason is because you want to do the same thing over there that you just did right there. And for some reason, a lot of people, as soon as they get the bar on their back, whoa, they do not do anything even remotely close to it. So it's a good way of learning. Just come over here, try it without the bar, do it a couple times, get used to it. You can grab a kettlebell or a dumbbell, hold it in front of you, work up to like a 45-pound dumbbell, and then squat. All you're doing is reversing it to where the bell's, instead of here, it's right here. So that's a good workup. Now, that being said, what is depth? Depth is where your hip crease, this hip crease, is below the top of the knee. Hip, knee, below. It's not here, it's not here, it's not here, it's here. Just like all of it. But don't screw that up, especially if you're powerlifting, because if you get really good at being above depth and then you go to a competition, you're absolutely screwed. Now, let's go show you how to fix your depth if you're screwing it up. Okay, so this next one's going to take a bit of imagination because there's only one of me here and Oliver can't hold this. So this is the pipe trick. I cannot take full credit for this, or basically only credit on passing it on to you guys. I did learn this or stole it, the idea from Rich Winter. But that's part of it. Like, we learn and we share and we continue to grow as we go along. So thank you, Rich. He's one of he did get to go to Westside Barbell and everything, and I definitely stole this idea from him. He showed it in the seminar I had him come up for. So, if you're having a hard time with depth, a lot of the times what's happening is you're not really turning your toes out, you're not pushing your knees out, your hips aren't going back in the right direction, and you just can't figure out the proper mechanics for everything to happen at once. So a lot of people will squat like this, and they're slightly out with their toes, but their knees are coming forward. As soon as I do that, that's about as far as I can get before I'm literally gonna fall backwards, okay? So I can't actually, right there, I can't get to depth, okay? Something that really helps people with that is you put this pipe over the midfoot, like somebody holds it from over there, midfoot. And the only way that you're going to squat is by avoiding touching this pipe with two things: pushing your hips back and pushing your knees out in the direction of your toes. That's the only two things you can do. So what happens when I do that is I get deep enough. And I did that without my hands out. That was not easy, actually. But you see the concept of doing it, right? That's how you're achieving depth, okay? But if I didn't do that, I couldn't get that deep. So, my scenario is act like you're taking a shit in the forest. Have you ever shit in the forest? This is shitting in the forest. If you shit like this or shit like this, you're gonna get shit all over your ankles. Nobody wants to do that, okay? So, you also have to remember, you want the bar at all times in the middle of your body. You're slightly bent over in a squat. So your hips need to go back to be able to keep a straight up and down position. If you don't, you're going to come like this or like this, and it's not going to be in the center of your body. I hope that information helps you. I know it's a lot of blabbing. I apologize. It's a ton to learn. If you have any questions or if there's anything that you want me to talk about, please feel free to ask. Go check us out on Facebook. Our group is called Healthy Living for Healthy Life, which I'm currently blocked from all groups, which is, you gotta love Facebook. I don't know what even I did, if anything. Anyway, that being said, also on Instagram at One Big Impact, it does help immensely when you guys say something. Just comment. Bye.